Hi, this example here illustrates how to do a one variable and two variable data table based on a scenario about buying a house. So the information that we need to use is supplied to us here. The cost of the house is 400,000. Deposit is required of 80,000, which is 20%. And that's calculated by multiplying the cost of the house by zero point 0.2. So we're going to be borrowing 400,000 minus 80,000, which is 320,000. The interest rate is 3.25% a year, and the mortgage is going to be over a period of 360 months, which is 10 years. Oh, sorry, 30 years. The monthly payment will be $1,392.66 a month. Now, in order to work out the one variable data table, we need to have a range of interest rates. We've been given the starting rate and the finishing rate in the range. So we're going to have a look to see how much we'd pay if it was only 2.5% a month that we managed to get as an interest rate, or if it was as much as 4%. So obviously it's going to be different monthly payments, as the theory would be that the more interest you paid, the more your monthly payment would be. So we've been told we have to fill in this range across the top here, and we do that by clicking on the home button and going down to this down arrow, this fill button. Maybe it says fill on it if you've got the spreadsheet in widescreen, but whichever, you click down, and this is going to be a series because it's going to be one after another. It's going to be a row, and it's going to be linear, and it's going to be, in this particular case, a trend, because we want to trend between the two values that we've already been given. So we click OK, and you can see that the interest rates have been filled in there, and they are indeed linear. There's 0.25% increase for each one of those. Okay. So now what we're going to do is the one variable data table, which will essentially provide us with the information that gives us the monthly repayment rate for each of these values. The first thing that we need to do is to include the monthly payment from the scenario above in this table by putting it in this cell here. So we just say equals, and we click on that. That needs to be in there. Okay. The next thing that we can do, and it's very simple, is we have to highlight the whole table, including the interest rates, but not the interest rates heading, so that the spreadsheet knows that we're working with all this information. And we go then to do the data table. So you go to data. It's a what if analysis, because we're going to say, what if we pay this percentage interest? What if we pay this one? So it's a what if analysis, and it's a data table. This particular example is a row data table, and we need to choose the row going across is the different percentages. So we just click on the percentage there, and then we click OK. Now we get the values have been populated by the spreadsheet, and we can check that is correct by looking at 3.25% and seeing it's $1,390.66, which is exactly the same as here. Two things that you can do next to make this look more presentable is to highlight these values, go down to format cells, and give them a currency value, so you get the nice dollar sign in there so people know that's an amount of money. And this one is sort of hanging there on its own. It's needed for the calculations, but it just looks a bit weird. So what you can do with that one is you can highlight that and set it to a special custom variable here, and just write in here in quotation marks. Got to have the quotation marks. You can just put in monthly payment, Okay, and then perhaps you can click out and click back in and go Control B and make it bold. So you can see that it hasn't changed the figures here at all. They're working perfectly as they did before. You see 3.25% is still giving the answer from the scenario above. But what we've done is mask that value with some text. Underneath it all, you can see it's still referencing B7. And the spreadsheet will reference that figure, and that's why it still continues to work. So that's the one variable data table, and these are the values that you would pay at different percentage rates between 2.5% and 4%, and these are the monthly repayments based on that. So you can see that if you get a rate of 2.25% or 2.5%, you're saving yourself $250 or more per month over 30 years. That's a lot of money. So always seek the lowest interest rate when you have taking out a loan. It's quite the opposite when you're taking out an investment. You want the highest interest rate. So we move on to the two variable interest rate. In this particular table here, we're going to have two variable data tables. Sorry, we're going to have varying interest rates across the top, and we're going to have the same values as above. But we're also going to vary the length of the loan. So we're going to say a 10-year loan, a 15-year loan, 20 or 30-year loan. Now the 30-year loan should come back with the same values as up here. So we'll see if they do. That will be a good checkpoint. We're going to use the same interest rates. So we can do the same as we did before, 2.5, and I'm putting the percentage sign in there. I'm going 4, and I'm putting the percentage sign in as well. I'm typing that in. So you've got those there, you've got the 2 in there, you join the dots between the two, you highlight the area, you go to Home, and you go to let's make this a little bit shorter, and it'll reappear. There you go to Fill and the Series, and it's going to be linear, and it's going to be a trend, and it puts all those values in again. You could have copied them down, but that's a nice accurate way of doing it also. Okay, I'm just going to pull something out for a second. Okay, so I'm just referencing some numbers that you can't see. So the payment periods are going to be in months. So 10 years in months is 120. 15 years is 180. 20 years is 240 months. And as we know, 30 years is 360 months. So we have the setup here for the two variable data table, apart from one thing. We also need to use the example monthly payment from above. So as we did with the single variable, we can say equals and go to B7 and return that value. Okay, there's that value there. And as we did before, we can go and mask it so it gets it out of the way. It has to be used by the table, but it doesn't have to be visible. So you can go right over it, and I'm going to do exactly the same as I did in the last example and just put in monthly payment. Okay, there we go, monthly payment. Let's pull that up and click on OK. And again, I'll click out and click in and make it bold. So we're all set now for the double or two variable data table. We have to highlight the whole of the table, okay, including this list here and including the interest rates. Again, we go to data. Again, we go to what if analysis, because that's what we're doing, saying what if this happens or what if that happens, and data table. And this time we're going to populate both of these cells. The first one, as before, is going to be the interest rate, and the second one is going to be the length of the loan. And we click OK, and we get some values coming in there. Just as a sanity check, we say if the interest rate goes up, do we pay more? Well, we're paying 3,000 a month there and 3,200 there. So yes, it does. Does the amount we pay go down the longer we pay it for? Because we're paying the same amount over a longer period, and we can see yes, it does. And finally, is that bottom row exactly the same as the example here? And we can see that these figures are exactly the same here. So that is correctly done, correctly presented. You've got your dollar signs showing everywhere. It's perfect. So that's how you do a 1 and 2 variable data table.